Charles thought he knew his wife, but when her gaze grew distant and her phone became her secret world, he followed his instincts. One night, curiosity got the better of him, and everything changed. Sit back and enjoy this revealing story. Be sure to like and subscribe for more. The sun was setting over the bustling streets of Ibadan when Charles arrived home. He noticed immediately that Funmi, his wife, had left the dining room light on again. "Funmi, are you home?" he called, stepping into the living room. No answer. He could hear the faint sound of music coming from upstairs. He climbed the stairs, and the music grew louder. A Yoruba love song Funmi used to love, but she rarely played it these days. As he pushed open the bedroom door, Funmi was just sitting there, gazing out the window, lost in her thoughts. The next morning, Charles found Funmi at the breakfast table, staring intently at her phone. "Ah, Funmi, you're up early," he said, sitting down with his cup of coffee. "Yes, there was a message I needed to reply to," Funmi said, her tone distant. He tried to peek at her screen, but she tilted it away. For a moment, Charles wondered who could be so important, but he shrugged it off. "Anything I should know?" he asked lightly. On his way to work, Charles couldn't shake off the feeling that something was off. As he drove, the radio played an old Fuji track, and his mind drifted back to how Funmi used to dance around the house, carefree and joyful. "How did we get so distant?" he muttered to himself, shaking his head. Reaching the office, he parked and sat for a moment before stepping out. "I'll talk to her this evening," he resolved, switching off the engine and gathering his thoughts. That afternoon, Charles received a message from his friend Tunde. "Let's meet for lunch," it said simply. Charles agreed, thinking a break might clear his mind. At the restaurant, Tunde dove right into conversation. "How's Funmi?" he asked. Charles hesitated. "She's okay, I think. She seems distracted these days." Tunde raised an eyebrow. "Distracted how?" "Well," said Charles, "she seems distant these days. I feel like I'm losing something. I really thought I knew my wife, you know?" Tunde sat up. "Listen, this just happens sometimes with women. Let me know the details, and I'll see if you are blowing this out of proportion or not." Tunde and Charles sat for hours speaking about Funmi and her strange behavior. "I see," said Tunde. "Give it time, but don't lose trust. You don't want to be the guy to lose trust and look through her phone." "I guess," said Charles. "I'll have to get going. I'll see you tomorrow." "Sure." Returning home that evening, Charles found Funmi preparing dinner. "Can we talk after dinner?" he asked, trying not to sound accusatory. She nodded with a small smile, as if knowing this conversation was coming. "Of course, Charles." Dinner passed in uneasy silence, both of them caught in their tangled thoughts. After clearing the table, they settled into the living room. Charles glanced at Funmi, searching for the right words. "Funmi, is everything all right with us? You seem far away lately." Funmi looked at him with tired eyes. "I don't know, Charles. It's just a lot on my mind." "Like what?" he pressed gently. "I'm not sure how to explain it. Just give me some time, please." Late that night, long after Funmi had gone to bed, Charles lay awake, thoughts swirling. He got up quietly and went downstairs to think. Funmi's phone was on the dining table, screen lighting up intermittently with incoming messages. Curiosity battled with respect for privacy, but in the end, the growing suspicion won. He reached for her phone but hesitated, his conscience screaming at him. Finally, with shaky hands, he unlocked it. The messages were from a name he didn't recognize. Bio. They were harmless at first glance, but Charles read deeper. "Bio, I'll see you tomorrow. Can't wait." Charles's heart pounded. He scrolled further back. Bio. "Wish we had more time today. Always love our conversations." He dropped the phone on the table, a cold sweat breaking out. Who was this Bayo, and what conversations were they having? The next morning, Charles was quiet over breakfast. Funmi noticed, her brow furrowed. "Did you sleep well?" she asked. "Not really," he replied, forcing a smile. "Busy mind." Anything I can help with? She asked, concern in her voice. I don't know yet. Maybe, he said, cautiously. The air was thick with unspoken words as Funmi left for work, leaving him alone with his thoughts. That afternoon, Charles couldn't focus at work. The man's name replayed in his mind. Bayo. He decided to speak with another friend, Io, who had a knack for solving problems discreetly. Io, he began after explaining the situation. How can I find out more about this Bayo? Io paused, thoughtful. I have some friends who can look into it if you want. Yes, please, Charles replied, desperation slipping into his voice. As Charles sat back, his phone buzzed. It was another message from Tunde. Charles, need to talk. I heard something about Funmi today. His heart raced. Charles immediately called Tunde back. What did you hear? He asked, trying to remain calm. It's just a rumor, might be nothing, but someone's saying Funmi is seeing someone new, Tunde said cautiously. Charles closed his eyes, his worst fears looming closer. Back home, Charles sat in the living room waiting for Funmi. When she arrived, he didn't even wait for her to settle. Funmi, I need to ask you something important, he said, his voice tense. She sat down slowly. Okay, what is it? Who is Bayo? He blurted out, unable to hold back any longer. Funmi's eyes widened in surprise. What do you mean? Funmi was silent, absorbing his admission. Finally, she spoke, her voice low. Bayo, he's just a friend, Charles. Why didn't you tell me about him? Your messages seem close. She shook her head. It's not what you think. He's a friend from university, that's all. Then why all the secret meetings? Charles asked, frustration boiling over. The tension grew, both of them locked in a standoff, neither backing down. Finally, Funmi sighed, turning away. Maybe we should take a break, Charles. Think about things, she said softly. His heart sank. A break? Was this how it was going to end? Suddenly, the room felt colder, heavier. Charles struggled to speak. What's really going on, Funmi? Please, be honest with me. She hesitated, her eyes glistening with tears. I need time, Charles. I need space to figure things out. Is there something you need to tell me? He pressed, fear gripping him. But Funmi only shook her head. No, nothing right now. The evening sun painted long shadows on the walls as Charles sat on the living room couch waiting for Funmi to come home. His nerves were taut and his heart raced at the thought of what lay ahead. The door opened softly, and Funmi stepped in, looking weary. Charles stood, determined to lay everything on the table. Funmi, we can't keep doing this. We need to talk. They settled in, facing each other. Charles's voice was tight with emotion. I know about Bayo. I know about the messages. Funmi didn't flinch. Instead, she met his gaze with a calm resolve. Yes, Charles. I plan to tell you. I have needed someone to talk to. I felt so alone. Confusion flickered across Charles's face. Then why not tell me? Why hide it? Funmi's eyes softened. Because I didn't want to burden you. You're always working hard, focused on your career. I thought maybe I needed space to sort my feelings. Charles leaned forward, his voice tinged with desperation. We're in this together, Funmi. Please tell me what you're feeling. Funmi hesitated, then spoke quietly. I felt invisible, Charles. Ever since you became so busy, it's like I've been living alone. Charles felt a pang of guilt. I never meant to make you feel that way. I love you, Funmi. We can work through this. She shook her head gently. It's not that simple. Bayo is just a friend, someone who listened when I felt lost. Charles nodded, empathy in his eyes. I understand now. I should have been there for you. Funmi reached for his hand, tears brimming. Charles, I've been scared to lose what we have. I just want us to be happy again, to be as close as we were. He squeezed her hand, a sense of hope stirring. Then let's start over. We can find a way back to each other. Her smile was faint but genuine. Yes, let's. The next day, Charles spoke with Tunde over lunch. I finally talked to Funmi. Tunde listened, curiosity piqued. And? We need to rebuild. I was so focused on work, I ignored the most important thing, our relationship. Tunde patted his shoulder. That's the first step, Charles. Recognizing the problem is halfway to fixing it. That evening, Charles returned home with a bouquet of sunflowers, Funmi's favorite. She was in the kitchen, cooking jollof rice, her mood visibly lighter. These are for you, Charles said, handing her the flowers. Funmi took them, her eyes shining. Thank you, Charles, for everything. As the aroma of spices filled the house, they sat together, talking and laughing softly, reminiscing about their early days. Charles said, Remember our first date? How the rain caught us under that small umbrella? Funmi chuckled. I wanted to impress you with the dress I borrowed, but it got soaked. They shared a warm smile, comfort in the memory. Over the next few weeks, they made time for each other. Morning walks, evening chats about the day's happenings, simple notes left by the bedside. Charles knew it wasn't perfect. There were moments of tension, slips into old habits, but now they both understood the importance of communication and commitment. One weekend, they decided to visit Funmi's family in the village. The warmth and laughter of family gatherings added to the healing process. The familiar sight of children playing and elders sharing stories under the large baobab tree brought a sense of belonging and unity. Funmi smiled as she watched Charles playing Ayo with her father, laughter filling the air. On their way back to Ibadan, Charles turned to Funmi. I've missed this, Funmi. Just us, living, breathing, enjoying each day together. She nodded, contentment softening her features. Me too. This is how it should be. They held hands as they sipped into a comfortable silence. The road ahead filled with promise. When Funmi received a message from Bayo that evening, she typed slowly, deliberately. Bayo, thank you for being there when I needed a friend. Charles and I are working on us now. I thought you should know. As she hit send, relief washed over her, another step in the right direction. One evening, as the rain began to pour, Charles came in with a soaked jacket, holding a small envelope. It's our anniversary soon, he grinned. Funmi raised an eyebrow, their eyes meeting with shared humor. She peeked inside the envelope. Tickets to a play she'd been longing to see. As she cheered for this amazing gift, she had to run to the bathroom to relieve herself, when suddenly her phone buzzed again. Are you alone? Texted Bio. Charles's heart stopped. Does he finally believe I'm out of the picture? Charles's temper rose. How dare she? She lied to me. As he patiently waited for Funmi to get out of the bathroom, half an hour passed, then 45 minutes. Nothing. So finally, after losing patience, he barged into the bathroom to find an open window and a note on the toilet seat saying, I'm sorry, Charles. Me and Bio have something special going on. I can't pretend anymore. Don't come looking for me. Charles' whole world turned upside down. Rage consumed. He grabbed his keys and ran out of the door with one intention: revenge. That's all for part 1 of this intriguing story. Let me know if you enjoyed it by smashing that like button and letting me know in the comments, and I will get part 2 out to you. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed and are looking forward to part 2 where the story takes a surprising turn.